Yo, what's going on YouTube? I am Germ here. Today we're doing another little portfolio update for the YouTube portfolio that we have going on here. Every single dollar that is made off of AdSense in this YouTube account and every single dollar from the Patreon that we get, that's going to be the first link in the description below, from this channel goes directly into this YouTube portfolio that I'm going to have this weekly series on this channel to track over time and show you guys how you can build up and grow a portfolio starting from as little to $100 as hopefully to $100,000 plus into the future. I think we've been doing this for 2 or 3 weeks now. We started off with that initial deposit of $100, and as you guys can see right now, we are sitting at $99.70. So we're actually down a little bit, but I'm not too upset about that. We're only down 0.27%, and this is at a time where the market has not been doing so good over the last couple of weeks, and overall the market as a whole hasn't been doing too great into 2022. So the fact that we are only down 0.27% is great, especially when you take a look at our holdings. Right now, we just own these 4 companies. Every month when YouTube pays out, obviously that is on the 21st. So this month, our next buy is going to be on January 21st. So, I'm always researching, looking to see what our next big play is going to be. But right now, these are the 4 companies we own. We put $25 into each of them. We're down 11% on Netflix, and that kind of sucks, obviously. We're also down 3.6% on Google, but we have had big gains in Disney, up 3.8% in just a couple of weeks, and then Baba. This was, when I first made the video announcing this portfolio, Baba was the company out of these 4 that I was the most excited about their, price appreciation potential going forward into the future, and seeing them at a 9% up, 9.76% up is really, really cool, making up for some of our losses on Netflix. So a lot of these gains and losses are kind of being, canceled out by the other companies, but still, I love these 4 companies over time. I think they're going to do great, and I think we're going to buy a lot more really, really great assets and companies as this portfolio goes on. So a little update there. As far as market news around the market, Intel is popping after hours right now, and I'm a little bit upset about that because I previously owned a decent amount of Intel. I think I had Intel around $48 a share, something like that, and I think last time I checked, Intel was at 58. As I did some more research into Intel, as I looked at it more, I wasn't really as excited about the company as when I bought them, so I decided to take some profits. I decided to sell out entirely in my main portfolio out of my Intel position, and obviously that didn't end up being a great decision, at least in the short term for now, because the news came out that Micron CFO Dave Zinsser is leaving to become Intel's CFO. Micron has named its chief business officer, its interim CFO, and is reiterating its quarter 2 guidance. So that is kind of interesting for both Micron and Intel there. This is interesting for me because this made Micron go down and it made Intel go up. And I just recently sold out of my Intel position and just recently began starting up a Micron position. So, that's just kind of how the market goes sometimes. That does kind of suck. But I still really like Micron for the long term. And I really like Intel for the long term as well. Honestly, Intel was one of the companies that I was and still am considering buying into for this YouTube portfolio when my money comes in this month, just 11 days from now. Now, obviously, I liked Intel better at the 50, 51, 52 price range that we were at previously, more so than I'm going to love buying them at 58, 59, 60, whatever this ends up at. Right now this stock is, I guess, 55.21. I thought I saw it at 58 a second ago. Yeah, it was 58 a second ago. Okay, so it closed at 55. It's currently at 58.13. So we'll see where that shakes out at. But yeah, I was loving my buys at $48 or 50 or 52 a lot more than before. But some good news for Intel there. That was really, really interesting. Some of the other big market news in the market today is that this right here, Take-Two Interactive, Take-Two Interactive decides to buy out Zynga. Really, really big deal here, $11 billion deal. Zynga up 40% on that news, obviously having a buyout price now set in store for that, but also, Take-Two, seeing how they're going to react to this, they're actually down 13%. It doesn't seem like the market, is necessarily loving this deal. Take-Two is the makers of Grand Theft Auto, so they're a very, very big player, in kind of like the gaming space, obviously. Zynga is the company that owns like Farmville and a lot of those like Facebook games that are very addictive and make a lot of money off of like people's parents and grandparents and all that stuff. So this is kind of interesting. This was really, really big news in the markets today. Wall Street sees the rationale behind Take-Two's $12.7 billion deal to buy Zynga, even if traders hate the transaction at first blush. Take-Two is using its balance sheet and equity to opportunistically buy a good mobile asset in a depressed market. The Grand Theft Auto maker said it would pay 64% premium. That seems really, really steep to scoop up Words with Friends developer Zynga using a mix of cash and stock. So obviously, you don't always love throwing around more stock. Zynga will continue to be led by CEO Frank Gibeau, get 2 seats on Take-Two's board, and operate as a standalone label inside the company. The combined company is expected to boast 8,000 game developers. Pretty crazy. But again, Take-Two is kind of tanking off of this news. It will be interesting to see. Obviously, I think Zynga, has been a beast in terms of getting people to use their games and getting people addicted and getting microtransactions and all that stuff. But again, paying this 64% premium is really, really tough. And then also, how is Take-Two going to incorporate them into what they already have going on? How are they going to use them as an asset? How are they going to capitalize on that? How are they going to make that money back, to see that return on both invested capital and stock and stuff? I don't know, we'll have to see, but I did think this was kind of interesting, and it's obviously one of the bigger stories that everyone's talking about today. We also had news coming out about Tlry, making some big moves here. The cannabis stock surged 13.5% after the company reported an unexpected quarterly profit. Tlry said its revenue, it increased its revenue by about 20% from a year earlier on strong demand for cannabis projects. So that product. So that is obviously very, very interesting. I know Tlry is one of those, cannabis plays that people follow very, very closely. We've been hearing for the last 5 or 10 years that, national legalization or, legalization on the federal level is coming and right around the corner. Obviously, it's still not here yet. We're heading into 2022 now, but if that ever does happen, Tlry is going to be one of the leaders of this field and of this industry. So obviously, there's some risk baked in with this stock, just not knowing when adoption or legalization or whatever is going to happen. But even with the current rules and laws and all the stuff in place, they are, finding a way to turn a profit, and that should be very, very exciting. So kind of interesting there. Another really, really big story on the market. I'm not necessarily looking to dive into Tlry stock at this point, but I do like, figuring out what's going on. I'm also not that interested in Take-Two stock at this point either. Just, I'm keeping my eye out on the market for deals and companies I like. Maybe, Take-Two could be a potential interesting opportunity to buy the dip. Take-Two's down 13% today. If you think Grand Theft Auto and all their games and Zynga is going to be a massive play into the future, you could get this thing 10-15% on sale. So that's kind of an interesting opportunity. But I'm not super interested in Take-Two either. We also have Mrna was up around 10% today. They did have a product sales outlook that obviously went very, very well. Their shares were up 6.7% when they wrote this article. Said it signed advanced purchase agreements for product sales of about $18.5 billion. So that is obviously very, very good news for Mrna. Things haven't been necessarily great for them recently. Past year, they're up massively, obviously, as the pandemic has gone on, and they're, very, very involved in that. But, we had 52-week highs of almost $500, and we're currently sitting at $233. But they're maybe seeing a little bit of a rebound right now. So, people buying the dip have maybe seen a little uptick there. Again, Mrna's not a company that I am super, super interested in this time. I'm more so interested in Intel. I think this is very, very big news, potentially with, new leadership, a new CFO. If they can get this thing coming in the right direction, if they can start showing any kinds of growth, this is a company that makes a ton of money, has a ton of money, pays out a massive dividend. If they can, compete in the semiconductor space and see growth in the future, Intel is absolutely a company that I've had on my watch list, and I'm going to continue to have on my watch list. And that's kind of the stock today that had the biggest news that I'm looking out for. And again, when that YouTube money comes in, January 21st, that might be one I'm adding to this portfolio. But our portfolio is still hanging in strong. We have an all-time high of $102.74. We're now at not our all-time low. January 5th is our all-time low, so we're coming back a little bit. But again, relative to the market, I think being at 99.7 is a really, really good spot. I'm excited about it. Hopefully you guys are too. Definitely drop a like if you guys did enjoy this video. I would appreciate that so much. Leave a comment down below. What stocks are you guys buying? What stocks are you guys selling? What do you think I should add to this portfolio next? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe, save today, and all my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.